Ladies and gentlemen, we are live here on the DJ SLiCKO pre-show. Sorry, we're running a little bit behind, but we got some special guests announced. We have a new co-host. We're gonna start off with a quick track, make sure everything's on point, and then we're gonna get right into a quick interview. We're running a little bit behind, and I'm getting some feedback online about that right now. So we're gonna work on the connection as we go here.
Yeah. Election time's coming. Who you gonna vote for? Yeah. If I was president, I'd get elected on Friday, assassinated on Saturday, buried on Sunday. They go back to work on Monday. If I was president, if I was president, if I was president, yeah. Instead of spending billions on the war, I can use that money so I can feed the poor. Cause I know some so poor. When it rains, that's when they shower. Scream and fight the power. That's when the vulture devours. If I was president, I get elected on Friday, assassinated on Saturday, buried on Sunday. They go back to work on Monday. If I was president, if I was president, if I was president, yeah. I know some soldiers that sleep but they can't dream. Wake up with screams, sounds of M16. So take this medal of honor for your bravery. I wish you the best, kid. You and your family. If I was president, I get elected on Friday, assassinated on Saturday, buried on Sunday. They go back to work on Monday. If I was president, if I was president, if I was president. But the radio won't play this. They call it rebel music. How can you refuse it? Children of Moses, tell the children the truth, the truth. It's not all that bling that's diamond. Tell them the truth, the truth. Most of y'all wear cubic zirconium. Tell them the truth, the truth. Yeah, your soul is worth more than diamonds.
If I was president, all blacks, I have reparation, no segregation, feed the nation so there's no famine. Muslims, Jews, Christians, with all whole hands. Every week on the beach, party by the sand. Word up, take trips on Air Force One. Don't need to bring the homeless with no sneaks to Air Force One. Better schools in the hood, better teachers for the classes, making money, paying no tax. Find the best scientists, tell them come up with an answer. I want the cure for AIDS and cancer, but I gotta watch my back. Snipers on the hill with the steel, waiting to JF
I was president, I get elected on Friday, assassinated on Saturday, buried on Sunday. They go back to work on Monday. If I was president, if I was president. I feel the rain coming, let me play my guitar for them right now.
Let's go.
Refugees, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're here live, ipmnation.com/SLiCKO, also better known as SLiCKO.org, official as this week has started. We're trying to get tapped into the live channel for the IPM Nation takeover. We have a special guest here. We're running a little bit behind, but I promised this man a show, and we met 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, about 2.5 weeks.
Hold on, let me check your mic here. So we met, how long ago? 2.5 weeks ago, you said?
Yeah, about 2.5 weeks.
And that was a show you were doing for, was that just your show?
For Project Hope, and I just brought it together pretty much to help support Project Hope and try to help push a nationwide effort for heroin drug treatment programs.
And that's a great place to start in Rochester, definitely. I feel that it's out of control. I mean, it's out of control all over, but it's definitely a problem in Rochester, specifically. And so you had Term come out from Boston. How was the show?
The show went okay. I mean, we had a lot of trials and errors and some issues. Um, Things didn't go the way I wanted them to go.
Fair enough.
But
Fair enough.
That's the facts of life. Things happen,
Yeah, I mean,
and you just keep moving.
hip hop shows are a tough thing to work around. I'll tell you that. We've done plenty of shows in my time, so they don't ever really work out. Sometimes you're like, okay, that wasn't so bad, and sometimes you're like, darn, that didn't work. But either way, you're doing a good cause, and people are noticing that. You're also running for New Hampshire
Executive Council for District 2,
for District 2.
which covers 46 cities, 46 towns, 6 cities across New Hampshire.
Wow.
Which streams from Durham all the way up to Farmington, all the way to Concord, all the way to Keene, all the way down the Vermont border to Mass border.
No kidding. Now, how many people are on that council per se that would oversee that?
There's a total of 5 districts within the state of New Hampshire. Their main function is to be the watchdogs in the entire state budget, appropriations, department, appointment of department heads, appointment of judges. So it's a very powerful position, which
Definitely.
really help a lot of people. At the same time, you need the right people in office that will make sure that we don't downshift any costs down to our towns and cities, which is a huge problem right now.
So you want to watch the money to make sure it's going in the right places and getting put in the right hands of people?
Absolutely.
Definitely, that's great. I mean, can't argue with that at all. So I see a lot of your focus being around the heroin right now because it is so strong. I mean, you have people ODing left and right. I wouldn't say I'm personally friends with him. My father is good friends with the chief, in chief of the fire station in Rochester here.
Yep.
And he's getting the same people over and over. Having to give them Narcan and things like that, because they're ODing, and they need that help to get off it, but I don't think there's any real direction for that. So, I mean, that kid died in school.
Yeah.
She was like 17 or something.
17 years old, and yeah, it's crazy. Like me personally, since January, I've lost 23 friends.
23. I'm not even on the camera here. I'm getting all 23 people that he's lost alone, and I mean that's what I'm saying. That's sad.
And what the sad part is? I mean, it's age specific. And I mean, it's affecting everybody in age, but between like 15 and let's say 32 is pretty much where most of the deaths are coming from.
And that's I mean, it's always been there. Drugs are always going to be around, and they always have been. But kids, 15-year-olds, what were you doing when you were 15? Were you hanging out with people doing heroin?
Well, not heroin. The 15-year-old me was hanging out with people doing ecstasy.
And I mean, that's like the party kind of drugs, and so I mean, kids are doing drugs a lot younger in general, which is horrible. I don't know if they know, but like, drugs are horrible. They melt your brain into crap. Like you're I don't even want to get into it.
We'll pay for it later.
You're gonna pay for it later in life, definitely, and you don't think so now, but I look at people younger than me, and I try and guide them and tell them how I've kind of done my thing, and maybe you should but kids don't want to listen, and the youth is terrible. So
I mean, honestly, like how the state's been running things and how the legislative branch has been attacking this is unacceptable, because they're doing a lot of feel-good legislation. They're passing bills just because it's an epidemic and it's here. And honestly, giving Narcan out like it's candy. It's
yeah. How do you feel? Okay, so now.
Most people don't even understand why, but the continual rising of prices.
Sorry, as we're jumping into other things here. So how do you feel about the fact that a kid, not even an underage kid, anybody can walk down the road and be drunk and be arrested for public intoxication,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you're driving a vehicle and you're on marijuana, then you can get a DWI. But if a cops have to go to a person who's ODing on heroin and has to shoot them up with Narcan, they don't get any. There's nothing as of right now that stands
No
that would get
repercussions.
that person in trouble and doesn't stop them from the week next and the week next. Again, this guy I talked to, the fire chief, does these people, the same people, a couple times a month.
I'm gonna tell you right now. Like I told you, what they're doing is a lot of feel-good legislation. There's a lot of things that needs to be changed. Me alone can't do it
Correct,
when
yep.
I'm elected. The New Hampshire House of Representatives, who you put no seats, is really going to have to implement the majority of those changes. But if I'm
So go vote. I'm not trying to cut you off, but go vote. It's a serious thing. It's not just like the president and there's plenty of things to vote for. Do your damn research. Go ahead. Sorry.
I'll tell you right now, it's one of those things. If I'm elected and when I'm elected, okay, our jobs as executive councilors to watch the state budget, but our job is also to work with other county commissioners, the state legislative branch, work with the governor, work with the senators across the board. Because if you don't have the communication and you don't get out of your chair and actually look around you and actually get things done, things are going to go in the same direction. People are going
Right.
to keep on dying.
Right.
People are just going to keep making the same mistake. Like Narcan. Let's say an officer comes to a call and the fire department comes to a call. Someone overdosed. What do? They administer Narcan. They take
Now
them-
wait, just a side note, and I don't want to interrupt, but again, that's a policeman that came to the house, a fire truck, and an ambulance. All three of these, I don't know, taxpayers' money somewhere. That costs like $1,000 for an ambulance. I'm pretty sure alone. So do the math on that, plus the Narcan.
And then on top of it, you're taking them to the hospital 9 times out of 10 to make sure that they vital.
Test.
On top of this, the officer sees drugs on the table. They can't even touch it. They have to go and get a warrant to go back to the residence to arrest anybody and make
And
sure.
you know those drugs are well flushed down the toilet by the time those cops come back.
Absolutely. And then what does that do? Tie the police officer's hands from
Yep.
making any change or any stops to this.
But here's my thing too. Okay, so I walked down the street with my son a couple times. Right, I'm not gonna name the street, but I'll tell you right now, you probably drove on it to get here, and it's between here and Walgreens. And I know for a fact that there's two smack houses, if you would, and you watch people do shady things. They park over and hide behind the closed building next to Walgreens. They walk up the street. They won't let you watch. They won't let you see them walk where they're going, but I know where they're going. You pick this stuff up. And then another one on the other street right over there. This lady sits out in front of her house all day
One right
long.
down the street, all spray painted, all right on the side of it.
And
Because
the
everybody
cops, the cops drive around. I walk around. You can't tell me they don't know where these houses are. But what do you probable cause? I think that it's a dope house. What are you going to do?
There's absolutely nothing you can do. The only thing that we can do is change the laws on the books and actually make adequate changes so these law enforcement can actually do their jobs.
Now, what do you think that there would be a better result as now you come in the house, the guy had heroin, he was ODing. Are you going to put him in jail, rehab,
Honestly,
fines?
I have a good plan, but there's a lot of things that need to be researched. Physical, money aspects to it. There's a lot of grants that we can get with the federal government. I know our United States senators are trying to get some of that grant money. There's a lot of things that we could do, like we could do more public events, more awareness type things in the schools. Hit
The kids need to know, definitely. The kids need to know.
We got to stop it with the kids, because
Yeah.
if we can stop it with the kids, we can work on the adults.
Yep.
Sometimes you have to work with the younger and the older crowd, and then push in.
And merge them together. Definitely,
And,
definitely.
Another thing is that we really got to take a hard look at it is, let's say an officer comes to your house and we lift that law saying that you can arrest them. What we should do is PC them for 24 hours. Get them at a clear mind state
Yep.
so they can make decisions, okay? And what I think we need to do is give them two options. A, go to jail. or B, go get drug treatment program.
Let them choose.
Who's going to pay for the drug treatment program?
See, what happens is we're required by law to have medical insurance anyways. So why?
I don't have medical insurance because I can't afford it.
I don't either.
You are getting. Obama is gonna fine your ass $298 this year. Both of you.
Absolutely.
I pay
You
four
don't
fucking
have
thousand.
care.
Pardon my
No, I
language,
don't
but I
have
pay
health care.
$4,000 a year for goddamn insurance for me and my son. It's
Because you own
a
your own place on there.
robbery.
$400 a month for my
See-
family.
See, $400 for this guy.
I mean,
Lendy's in the corner.
If I could afford a BMW, I would. That's what I have to say to the
I'm
Parliament.
over here.
but let's take a look at a program at Gloucester, Mass. They weren't taking anybody with medical. I mean, what they would do is they would build a medical insurance. Okay, if you had medical insurance. If you did not have medical insurance, they didn't send you away. They sent you to drug treatment as well. And what they did is they used federal grant money and other type of grants within the state. They fixed the state budget and they reappropriated things like some of the drug dealers that they busted. They, if they were proven guilty, they were incarcerated. What they would do is take that money, confiscate it, and put it straight into drug treatment programs. State of New Hampshire doesn't do that. They put the money in, guess where? General fund to stabilize the budget. So you got the cost shift and you got everything going into one pot, but that's going into roadways, that's going into education, that's going into God knows who what. And, so that has to change
A
before
lot of
anything-
things have to change because what I've seen, okay, and I'm almost 37 years old, and what I've seen over the last 20 years is that the DEA has gotten larger, and so hasn't the problem. If the DEA is getting larger, shouldn't the problem get smaller because there's more people to deal with the issue?
Absolutely.
I mean, because we're seeing an equal balance here, where it's steadily rising. The law enforcement's getting bigger, and so isn't the problem. The problem just keeps steadily increasing.
And look at it that way. You just said that the DEA is getting larger. Where do you think they're getting that money? You think the federal government is going to make the DEA bigger without having that money to actually pay for it?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that there's a problem where there's a steady increase. I think
Yeah.
there's a link between the two of them where it's steadily increasing.
You know what the majority of that problem is? It's not the agency's fault. It's not state police. It's not the DEA. You know what it is? It's actually our elected officials' fault.
Well, I know where the whole problem stemmed from. And the whole problem stemmed from back when in the Nixon days is when he started all of this.
Well, we're getting too deep into history here.
Right.
We
But-
don't have
but-
too much time. We're a little bit behind, but
But
so
I'm just saying that
to rack it
it's
up though.
equally rising somehow.
But to rack it up though, so I feel that there's a lot of people who are in jail for lesser reasons, right? So you have people in jail for possession of marijuana that's theoretically going to be legal all over pretty soon. I know Maggie ain't gonna let it legal around, but it is in all other places. There's a guy who just got out of jail doing 40 years for possession of pot, but then this guy is getting Narcan every other
Right.
week. You know what I mean? So there needs to be some justification on that. So you're obviously heavily against the heroin. You want to help get kids educated on it. That's and your main focus is to get on that council, run the money the way it should be, and kind of get some money funded for the right. This is an epidemic. You're right.
For the right reasons. And to be honest, and I can't stress it enough, is communication is key.
Definitely.
You can't sit there and one hand doing one thing, the other hand doing the other, because it's never going to work. And plus, let's get into the whole situation with the party politics in New Hampshire. One's a Democrat, one's a Republican. What do?
Fight.
They fight,
Yeah.
argue. It's like, I want it my way, and they just tug of war. What do you think the people lay in the rest? They're like, "What? I need help," and they're sitting there more worried about
How they're going to go about doing it.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
And that has to stop. And that's where we get back into voting. In 2016, it's not about party affiliation. It doesn't matter who the president's going to be. It's what we're going to vote at the polls. We have to educate ourselves. We need to help each other, educate each other on what the candidate stands for, what they're gonna do, and you have to make sure that they're gonna vote your will as an individual and represent you the way they're supposed to represent you, not represent
what they believe,
What-
or because that's what a lot of all this is really with the big time picture is they'll tell you anything they want to hear, and then they get in and they do what they want, and we may be stuck with that for 4 years. I don't know what to tell you guys about the presidentship. I don't want to get into that too much politics on my show. We'll leave that up to Matt. But I'm glad you came out. I really like your, what you're shooting for, like killing this drug war, and getting these kids to know, because the kids are important, and the kids are the ones falling from it now, and that's the real issue. It just blows my mind that I left Rochester for 2 years. I came back and all these kids are doing heroin and all these kids are doing pills and things, and it's disgusting, because like these kids haven't even had a chance to develop a brain. They're missing gym class and they're shooting up. Like, Jesus, what is going on?
It's another reason why a lot of this stuff is going on too, is negativity. A lot of people don't realize, like recently I've been talking to people, and people have been negatively coming at people on Facebook all over the place, making false accusations towards people, making stuff up, trying to get people fighting and arguing. People don't realize negativity creates more negativity.
Oh, yeah.
And when you have more negativity, what happens? Things go downhill.
Yep.
If you keep everything positive and keep moving forward and forget about the negativity, regardless of what they say about you or what they're going to do behind your back, who cares about that?
Yep.
2 feet in front of it, in front of it. I can't even talk today.
2 feet in front of the other.
Yeah, got you.
It's a Sunday, man. It is late.
And another thing is, a lot of people don't realize, and a lot of the efforts that I'm trying to do is make awareness through music, through different genres of music.
Yeah.
Genres.
And that's another great thing too, is like getting people out, whether it be rock music, country rock music, or rap music, or whatever, getting the people out. You do some management. We're running low. We got a couple minutes, but shut off. Now you work at the Portsmouth shipyard as a full-time job.
Yes.
You also do some management with music as well.
What I do is I try to help a lot of local artists. I don't take any management. They say I'm their manager, but I try to steer them in the right direction, because obviously I don't have
It's
time.
like hip-hop consulting.
Yes, I love hip-hop.
Consultant in the music world.
I love hip-hop, R&B. I love all types of music. And hip-hop is where my roots are.
Yeah,
and
excellent.
R&B is where
we
my
like
roots
that
are.
here. We're big hip-hop fans over at SLiCKO'S world, so... maybe we'll link up again. Definitely, we want to have you back on the show. When is it official? So you're running for October, right? Is that when?
August is usually the primary. November